Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, and we have another session of interviews with Josh. Help me out, Josh. Your last name pronunciation, Roestel.
Yes.
Is that correct? All
Yeah.
right. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor today, Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Christ out of Edgewood, Washington. He was primarily set up for drummers and guitarists, but he has now begun to produce. And if you have any production needs of any kind or need any studio help, do contact him. He's on Facebook under Luscious Moss Studio or by Chad Christ. He has a very creative and relaxed environment. His studio is really state of the art equipment in there, and he's getting more all the time. So, with that, I want to introduce Josh and ask him when it all started. Josh, what was your first instrument and who was inspiring you at the time?
I think it was an old, like, we had a couple of guitars in the house hiding behind the couch upstairs in the loft, and one of them was both of them were like Gibson knockoff makes. I think one was an Alvarez, which I still have. Maybe I should have.
You know what, Josh, we're having a problem with your internet. Is there, would you be able to log out and then log back in? Did you have any trouble getting in?
Sure. Hold on. I just clicked back on the link. Yeah.
Well, we're waiting for Josh here. He had some problems. My internet went out earlier today. I didn't know if we would be able to do the interview. But it looks like as soon as Josh gets back, we should be able to get through this. Um, I don't see us on here, so I'm waiting for Josh to come back. And hopefully he'll be able to make it back in with us. And hopefully he'll be able to make it back in with us. And hopefully he'll be able to make it back in with us. And hopefully he'll be able to make it back in with us. So I don't know if anybody else is. Hopefully he'll be able to make it back in with us. So I don't know if anybody else is. Okay. Hope everybody can hear me now. I'm having a few issues myself. All right, back again. I'm having a few
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm having some issues myself. I need to turn this on here. Yeah, you're going to hear this echo until I get us hooked in with matured musicians. There seems to be a delay here. Okay, so I'm not able to cast this live to matured musicians. For those of you who do tune in there, you will be able to see this later. I will be posting it. So for whatever reason, I cannot hook us or link us to Facebook matured musicians. Sorry for that, folks. If you do need to get in, you can go to YouTube if you're on this channel, and hopefully we'll get you up there. We do have comment section, so we'll be commenting as well today. All right, Josh, go ahead and tell me again where you started and who your influences were.
Sure. So there was a couple of guitars behind the couch loft upstairs, behind the couch in the loft, and they were Gibson make knockoffs, and we used to always just fiddle with them, mostly just playing and whatnot, and not really taking it seriously as a musical instrument, and, until I had a buddy in high school he was just a riot. His name was Clay Chapman.
Okay.
He saw a garage band play. It was a band called Undertow, and he comes back to me after seeing these guys in the garage. He's like, "This is so cool, Josh. You don't even have to know what you're doing. You just plug in and make noises, and it's really cool." So I kind of thought, why not me? I want to be cool. And then, like, shortly after like that, I got a guitar, and it kind of quickly died down, like the whole cool thing, and I just fell in love with it. All I wanted to do was play all day long.
Like a vampire kiss, right?
Yeah,
Once you're
yeah.
bitten, you're
It was
in.
the only thing I wanted to do. I probably practiced, and I think I was 15 or 16. And I probably practiced about 8 or 9 hours a day for years.
Oh my gosh.
So not a lot of school.
Yeah. So who were you listening to at the time, and what kind of music were you doing?
What most kids in the 90s are probably listening to and doing, I thought, I think the first little lick, well, like I loved, the grunge scene, like Soundgarden exploded, and Nirvana. So they were a big influence on me. But I remember at the time already being advanced enough to where, like I idolized guitar players like Slash from Guns N' Roses. And I remember it was kind of becoming taboo to play guitar solos back then. Like, hide your talent, hide that. And I remember kind of acquiescing and holding back. But in my heart, I'm like, I want to play, I wish people still like this sort of thing. But so it's kind of like the catch-22. I really dug like the 90s and the way it destroyed some of the worst parts of the 80s metal hair rock scene. But at the same time, I loved some parts of that too. So that's kind of the weird era I grew up in, like loving both, and wanting to find that balance,
Yeah. Well, how did you find your way into doing country?
So I've spoken with you about my mother.
Yes.
My mother's Starlene Earl Kiblinger. The Kiblinger family came from West Virginia, and I don't remember which holler. I looked it up before this interview, but I can't recall it at the time. I know it's not, Butcher Holler like Loretta Lynn.
Right.
It's another one. So at any rate, they moved out here when my mom was a teenager, but my mom was always just a crazy hillbilly. And so there was a lot of old country house growing up. But I remember at the time, so we had like, Dolly Parton, Conway Twitty, then later on in the 90s, Garth Brooks. There was a lot of country going on. And, at that time when I started to get in, at the time I started to move more towards country. My father had just passed away.
No, I'm sorry.
And I needed to, I kind of really reinvent. I didn't reinvent. That's a horrible word. I just kind of started really applying myself towards music. And I had a band, Sunshine Cynic, for a little while. They were just kind of like an indie alt band. We had some cool tunes, but after that, the other guys weren't really that dedicated. So I moved into, I auditioned for an American Idol act, a local dude that I kind of knew him a little bit growing up. My wife knew him more. His name was Tony Bridges. And so he did country tunes and just like local stuff, casinos, like we did the Tulalip and Angel of the Winds, and I don't remember the one out in Ocean Shores, whatever. And it was kind of nice, little mini tours, you go for the weekend and get put up. And it was great because at first, I felt conflicted. Like I didn't want to do cover tunes. That was like something not cool to me. But you know what? There's something to be said about making a whole room shake their moneymaker and have fun. And,
Yes.
I had a good time. And not only that, it made me a much better musician. We would play on Saturday, set up, and then or Friday setup, sorry, and then Saturday, play again, and then go home. But the time Saturday evening, late at night, by the time the fourth set was ending, I mean, you were on fire as a musician. You were just locked in, and I liked that about it. So after that, I the band and I parted ways after about a year and a half, I want to say, maybe. And I wanted to do more originals, but this time country originals. And so I did cut a record, and I have yet to release it. Life happens, I put a lot of hard work into it, and in many ways I've aged and changed since I recorded it, but it's still, I should put it out. I had a lot of really cool musicians come in and record with me on it. Some that are passed away now. And so, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
wandering a little bit. I don't remember the original question. Sorry.
Yeah, you're on
When
the
did I
right
get into
track, Josh.
Yeah.
I listened. You sent me one of your recordings, and it
Yeah.
was stellar. It was stellar country. I mean,
Thank you.
I would have to classify your countryside of your personality uh, as a country. What would you call it? Kind of Southern rock.
Yeah, I think I mean, the one I sent you is very classic country,
I
but
love it.
obviously I don't have like the voice of Conway Twitty. I've got my voice.
I
So.
know you got your voice, and it's
Yeah.
great. I
But it's
love it.
definitely in that spirit. I wrote that song, Sad Damn Shame, that I sent to you. I used to drink quite a bit, and that was right. I was
Yeah.
sitting in my bathroom because the acoustics are great, and I was drinking Bushmills, I believe, and I'm pretty sure I finished the bottle. But when that song came out, it came out in like 10
Yeah.
minutes. It just came out. I don't know where it came from, and I wish that I wrote songs like that all the time. I don't, but sometimes it happens. You know what I mean?
So, uh, how many songs are there on there? I didn't get to see that.
There are 9 tracks, and they range from what you heard, classic. There's at least a couple of them that are very classic country, pedal
Uh-huh.
skills and whatnot. And there are others that are, I would say, classic country to southern rock, soul. And then I have a couple that are, I would just call probably, rock and roll. And it's funny, we talked earlier in the at the start of this about what I was listening to when I was a kid, and definitely every one of those influences are in there from the Seattle scene, grunge. I would not call it grunge, but you can hear some of Seattle and some of the chord progressions.
Right.
And,
Uh, what year was that you recorded them?
oh,
Over, or was it over a period of time?
I recorded it. I probably started recording it. My dad passed in 2010. I think maybe I started in 2016, and it might have gone on for 3 or 4 years. I just did it when I had money. I funded it myself, and I recorded it at Dylan's One Shot Studios in Woodinville, and he has an excellent setup there. It's a great place to go and make a record on. So
I contacted a place in Woodinville. I don't remember the name of it, but they want $800 an hour. Like,
yeah,
oh
this
gosh,
this wasn't like that, but this wasn't cheap either.
it
So
was what? It wasn't like that, but it was what?
it wasn't the. I think you're talking about the more famous Bear Creek
Yeah,
studio,
that's
where
it.
like some
Yeah,
pretty big artists have been in there. And
yeah.
Dylan's One Shot has had some, I'd say some big artists, but he's not renowned as that one. But still, nice studio. He just added on a second uh, sound room studio that's separate from the house, and I watched it since I took me so darn long to record the record. I watched that place evolve, and
Uh-huh.
grow over time, probably
Yeah,
from all the money I was paying him.
yeah, yeah. I get that.
Yeah. So at any
So,
rate, like I cut that record, and then I got it mastered, and then life just happens. Went through a lot of stuff. Then COVID hit. My mom passed, and I just always meant to and always kind of wanted to. And Never did. So, I'm at a point where I would really enjoy doing like a 3-song, what is it, LP, EP? I don't remember which one. I think it might be LP, where that kind of shows what I write these days. Because even though I haven't released that thing, I've I've changed since then. So I need to put it out.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
So when did you so how long was it from the time that you uh broke up with the band that you were playing in to the time you got your own called Starlene Earl?
Okay, so Starling Earl was an original country band of mine that played songs from that record. We only did a couple shows, but we spent a lot of time together. And I would say that how long was it between the time that I wasn't in the Tony Bridges band and the Starling Earl band? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Oh, I would say so. When I started recording, it was just me and my music, and Dylan from One Shot would record the drums and you know kind of educate me on stuff once in a while, like, hey, that's not going to work, or that you need to get this together. So I was learning a lot while I was doing that, and I would say it must have been a couple of years at least that I was on my own just writing music and recording, and I was using my connections through like playing music professionally to get guys to come in and record with me. I don't remember where I met Dan Tyak. He's the guy I had played pedal steel on my record. Trying to remember, I might have seen him play live once or twice, but yeah. So you get the point. I used those connections
Right.
to record on the record, but at first it was just me alone. And then at the end, when Starling Earl started to happen more towards, like, I don't know, probably 2017, 18. I'm horrible with time, but yeah, I just put a little ad out with a couple of tracks from the record on it. Does anybody want to play country music with me? And I had a really cool cat named Kurt McGregor Jensen. He came in, and we sat down with a couple of different drummers, and they didn't really work out. But Kurt and I, and then a keys player named Trace DeVoe, we kind of started playing together, and then eventually we got a gal named Danya Stevens, who is actually on the record for one track. There's a song called Big City Crazy, and it's kind of all about exactly probably what you could figure it's about living in the country and like just not being able to fit or
Yeah,
comprehend big
yeah,
city
I
life
get that.
or stressed about the big city.
Right.
So it's a kind of a song about just how simple folk feel sometimes, maybe.
Yeah.
And she came in, Danya came in and sang on that one with me, and she had a great, lovely voice. I had a gal named Courtney Marie Andrews who sang on a lot more of the record, but she definitely moved on to some much bigger ponds. So
Yeah.
couldn't probably get her to keep playing with little old me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
sounds like that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So, we're going to hear a little bit of your music before long. And I do want to apologize to people who may be listening on YouTube or on this station. Apparently, they have blocked me from Matured Musicians again. They.
What did you say now, Joy?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Joy,
not
the
just me.
controversy.
I know it's not me. It's them messing around with this stuff. They don't want us going through our groups. So you can go through your business page and cast from there, but we cannot now apparently share the screen. I've shared it twice now. It did not go through. So I apologize to all of you. This will be posted on Matured Musicians, and I'm going to have to move my people over to my business page if you want to watch me live. So, Josh, I apologize. We're going to have you back so that we can get that feedback. And that's why we're not getting anybody.
Okay.
They're not sending us questions, and they're probably wondering why I can't get through.
Well, Joy, I'm not worried about it. I don't mind it. Just you and I. Whoever wants to ask can ask later. This
Yeah.
way, it's just there's no worries.
Okay. Well,
Just
it's
to be
going
honest.
out live all over the world, so to speak. Anybody who sees it, if they put in country music or whatever, the different things that they can put in on YouTube, it's out there, and there are people listening to us live at this point. So, Josh, I understand, and your name is Joshua. I may call you Josh. I guess I've been
Yeah, either
automatically
or.
doing it without thought.
I've been called many things over the course of my life,
Um,
and Josh and Joshua are
yeah,
just right.
but it's late for dinner, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did you mention that you live in Duval area?
Yeah. I've been out here for I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know, God, maybe 20 years now. Originally
20
from North
years, huh?
Bend.
Right.
I graduated out at Mount Si High School a
Right.
year late because of this thing.
Ha, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to bow out and I'm going to
Okay.
leave you play, Josh. And I'm going to, I can hear you, I can see you, but you can't see me. Okay.
Okay. Okie dokie. I'm just going to play an old country song. Now I'm lying here with Linda on my mind, and right next to me, my soon to be, the one I've left behind. And it's killing me to see her cry, 'cause I'm lying there beside her with Linda on my mind. Yes, I know that I once loved her, and I placed no one above her, and I never thought I'd ever set her free. But it just wasn't in my plans, the way Linda held my hand, the way I squeezed her close as she danced with me. She said, I've loved you for a long, long time, but you're married to a friend of mine, and I tried hard to never let it show, but my love for you is stronger. I can't hide it any longer, and so I thought I'd better let you know that I'm lying here with Linda on my mind, and right next to me, but soon to be the one I've left behind. And Lord knows it's killing me to see her cry, 'cause I'm lying there beside her with Linda on my mind.
All right. You got another one? You got another one in there, Josh?
Oh, sure. I hadn't thought that I would be doing, but I'll do an original. That was a Conway Twitty tune
Okay.
that has kind of got under my skin lately. That's the kind of country when I think of that type of country, like old Conway Twitty, old tunes like that. I think of my grandma and my mother, and that's a good feeling for me. So let's move on. You want to hear something else? So I'll do a song called "Sad Damn." Maybe I'll just do that "Sad Damn Shame." Rules are driving me crazy. This life of fighting and drinking, and impulse thinking. I don't know no other way. And then along you came, and I was a fool for you. Well, I let you change me, dress me up, rearrange me. I know you couldn't love me any other way, and it's a sad damn shame. You couldn't love me any other way. When darling, I know no other way. And in the night, I keep calling your name to no answer. I know you can't miss this love, surrendered in cancer. But I can't, and I do anyway. And then you pried up my heart, you ripped it in two. Well, how dare you? And I can't wear it on both sleeves since you left me. Baby, since you left me, it's been a crying shame. It's been a sad crying shame. You couldn't love me any other way. It's been a sad crying shame. You couldn't love me any other way. When
Josh, we completely lost Facebook. They
Oh no,
I completely went down.
that's just Facebook.
I don't know. They're playing again with the systems, and this was kind of a windy day out here, so I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just my system doing that or what. But we are still live on YouTube, so
Okay.
I'm not going to take us down. I will. Won't be live. Matured musicians, but and we're no longer live on my business page, but we are live on YouTube. So I'll post that and try to figure out with StreamYard after we're done. So thank you very much for playing that. And I'd
Yes.
like to know now, after hearing what you're doing, if by any chance you are planning on putting the band together again, and when do you foresee that, and what are your future plans in that direction at this time?
Just right now, um, that I cut meat at the Metropolitan, the market
Right.
there, and I'm busy with that, and I work till evenings around 7 o'clock normally, and I don't have weekends off, so I'm just trying to
Survive
play and
the
sing
music.
again. And that's I'm first. I think I first met you at the little jam at the Twin Dragon, and
Yeah,
that's just me coming back and trying to make sure that I put music back into my life after taking a few years of not having it at all. That's all I'm really thinking about. I mean, I guess I do want to release my record. Anybody who might listen to this who has experience with actually putting a record out, I'm yours. If you want to help out, I'd like to put it out so that I can initiate the next part of my plan, which is to record a couple of originals that I've written more recently. And as far as bands go, you know, that just kind of comes with
the territory.
well, yeah, it comes with getting out and playing,
Yeah,
recording, and having. I find that especially with recording, if you put something out there that people can see and hear, then they can believe, and they might want to be a part of it. So
right.
I know that will come. And and if it doesn't, I'll call some old friends.
All right, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really like your playing, and I think you've got a tremendous amount of talent that would be wasted if you didn't do that. So,
Well, shucks. Thank you.
oh shucks. Huh?
Yeah,
Anyway, when I first met you at the Twin Dragon at a jam, I said that guy's country, and he's got a country bone. So,
yeah. Well, I'm glad you could see it because
yeah,
I get stuck up there sometimes playing blues and this and that, but I'm just wanting to really, like, I don't know, play some old Hank or something. But
right,
it doesn't always happen at jams the way we want it to. But
right,
I really like watching
exactly.
and listening to you. It's very endearing because I love it because you do it, and I want to do that more.
Well, I do it, but it's kind of improv because, like
Yeah.
last night, for instance, as much as I care about the leads playing, he's not country. You either
No,
have it or you don't.
you're not gonna. Not everybody plays. They're different things. I'm not
Right,
really a great blues player. I can fake it, but I like to play southern rock, country, soul type
right.
on the guitar.
Yes,
That's where it's at for me.
absolutely. Now, not to say that your rock is bad.
Yeah.
You do that one. It's not cocaine. It's the other one about marijuana. I don't.
I
What
don't.
is
I
the
don't
name
know if
of
I
that?
sing any songs about marijuana. What do you?
What is the name of that song you do?
Who do you know who does it? Is it the Jesus Left Chicago or is it?
No, not that one.
Because that's Texas blues, and Texas blues is different to me. That's closer to.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
can't think of the name of the darn thing, but to me, it sounds like marijuana. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's Last Chance for Mary Jane.
Oh,
Last
you are
Chance.
right. Yeah, that's on. Mostly, I just play that one because it's in an easy key, and everybody always knows it. I know if I play it, I don't have to worry about what people on stage know because they know that one, and
Yeah,
that's just kind of the way it goes at jams.
yeah. You know what? I don't do that. Uh, I go play where people have never heard my music or they've heard it, but that's not their genre, and uh, they don't really know it. So
Yeah,
they try to put whatever lead is playing tries to do country. It's not
yeah.
always
It
successful.
usually ends up just being some rock and roll pentatonic minor over country in some
Yes.
cases, right?
Last night you had I think his name was something like RL. Uh,
Yeah, R.L. Hare. He's originally from Spokane area, but he's out here now. Yeah,
yeah, he was the lead last night when I went to Tommy Wall's jam at the Lucky Seven Casino in Kirkland,
yeah,
and the drummer knows me, and I've listened to him during COVID. Um, he has a band that he plays with, and so I knew him from there. And I don't know whether I ever managed to get an interview with him. Not, I have to go back and look. But
You played with Andrew Coltier, I think. That's it.
yeah, that's yeah, and he was actually in huddle with Tommy and your friend, and telling him how to play this music. He was great. And so those
Yeah,
guys never missed a beat. So
yeah,
that clip that you saw that I posted on my Facebook, uh, those guys have never. Well, I don't. Andrew's played with me before, but I know Tommy has not played those songs. Tommy
yeah. But
Hall.
I've subjected Tommy Wall to my country before, so
Hall.
he can get through it. He can suffer
Oh,
through
okay.
it.
Yeah, he started. His father loved country, so he grew up with country.
Yeah, he does on the. He likes to do Hank on the Bayou.
Yeah,
That's like one he loves to play and sing. So there's a little country in Tommy, and
yeah.
I would have a
He
hard
does
time believing
Mercury
RL
blues
couldn't
too.
play anything on guitar.
Yeah,
RL's like
yeah.
he's one of the most talented guitarists I've ever met in real life. I would say he's tremendously good.
RL, RL.
Andrew doesn't like to play 6/8, so I don't. If you got him to do that, kudos and cheers.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on that video, they never played with me before in
Yeah,
those songs. And if you notice, it was almost flawless. I mean, those guys are
yeah,
perfect. The drum beats are right on. I mean,
yeah,
that's what you call professional players.
yeah. They are. Tommy runs a really a tight jam, and he
You
usually
all,
only plays
yeah,
with pretty good people. So
yeah, yeah. I met Tommy in North Bend. There
yeah.
was a little Irish restaurant, and I can't
Oh,
remember.
you went to Fanati's. I used to go out there to that
Yeah,
jam you're
yeah.
talking about.
Did
Yeah,
you go to that jam?
yep. I used to.
I
I don't
never
know.
ran into there.
Few summers back, I used to hit that up like
Yeah.
all summer long, and I think
Yeah.
we must have just. You know what? I bet you I did. I seem to remember a gal playing country like once in a while there, and I bet you I just hadn't met you yet. But I would be surprised
Yeah.
if we
I
didn't
mean,
meet there.
but I actually had met him. I said it was there, but in North Bend, but it wasn't. It was the river something in
The Riverside in Fall City.
where? What is it called?
It's the Riverside. It's the saloon in Fall City.
Yeah, Falls City. That's
He,
it. Yeah.
he ran that jam for a number of years.
Yeah.
That was his jam at its best. I mean, I can't speak for his new jam at Kirkland because I ain't been,
All right.
but yeah, I'd like to go and visit them. But his jam at Fall City, I mean, everybody kept telling me about it, how it's like the winner of the Blues Society Best Jam, Washington State, stuff like that. And I finally went one night, and I heard some. And I happened to go on like the anniversary of it, just by chance, and like I really met some cool players there. I think I met Dylan Warnick there. I think that's where I first met Courtney Marie Andrews, and I met one of the coolest guitar players I've ever heard play, Mark Riley. I don't know if you know that name or not, but he was local here for a long time. I believe Mark's down in Arizona right now, but massive sounds coming out of this little Marshall 50-watt amp, but a tiny little amp, and just a killer slide player, and so thoughtful and tasty.
You know
So
what?
I mean,
The first
that
time,
jam was really good.
the
I
first
was sad
time,
to go.
first time I went to that jam, I walked out of there. I felt totally out of place.
Yeah.
Absolutely out of place. They weren't particularly friendly, or at least that was my perception. Maybe I wasn't friendly. I don't know. But yeah, I
Uh,
walked out and I didn't run back into him until North Bend.
Tommy definitely likes his blues jams to be blues jams, and
Yeah.
I will say that. And him and I butted heads for a little bit, and after he realized I was just going to keep coming back, we worked it out.
Good for you.
And you know what, though? Tommy's a hell of a nice guy. He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
he really is.
He's
Yes.
a very talented musician,
Yes.
and I think we came to we had a sit, we had breakfast or lunch or something. He bought me lunch and we talked. He's like, "Look, man, I get it. You like country. We can work this out. We can play it." And from there on, Tommy and I have been,
So you
writing
prepared the way
friends.
for me later when I went to hear him in North Bend. What was that called again? What was the name of it? Finale?
And Snoqualmie, it was Finati's up on the hill.
Finales. Yeah, that's
It's
it.
still up there, but it's a little bit more
Something
hoity-toity
else.
now.
I think it's something else now. I don't think
Yeah,
it.
it's changed
Yeah.
the name, but it's still the same. It's like a nicer Irish bar version of what it was with the
What it
different.
was. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know that they do jams there anymore. Finding like legitimate jams is getting harder. But that's I like the Twin
Yeah.
Dragon Jam. It's a mile from my house, and they let anybody get up there.
Yeah.
And play. And you know what? Sometimes it's chaos and sometimes it's awesome.
Yeah, like last night, I understand it was.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I think there's some like Aaron, he's got his difficulties and his challenges, but he comes out and he plays and he pours his heart and soul up there, and I love it. I love listening to him, and I think it's great to give people a chance to play who are we're all still working it out, so we're at different levels of working it out, and I think it's great that Doug and well, there's 3 Dougs that go, so
Yeah.
I think it's
Merchant,
great that they
McGrew,
let
and
people
Russ.
get up and
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it there as well. I've been going there for quite some time now.
Yeah.
But the first band that used to play there was called the Shortcuts. And I got to Taryn Burnell and Ted Pickett and Fred Holtzman, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, were the 3. And they got me going after I took a hiatus for about 4 years. I couldn't play. I was too sick, and I wasn't sick. I was just totally worn out with radiation chemo.
Yeah.
That had really turned me around, and they got me back into it. I mean, in spades.
Yeah.
So yeah, that place has always really supported music, and it's a good place to go. So anybody out there wants to go to the Twin Dragon and Jam, it doesn't matter how good or bad you sing, it's all good. Yeah. And everybody respects the fact that number one, you're trying to get your music out there, you're working on your music, and you're sharing it with everybody. Yep. It doesn't matter what level you're at, just beginning or all the way at the top, you're welcome.
Yeah, and I think that's great.
So while we're talking about the band and the possibility that you might start one at some point and finally release those great recordings that you have.
Yeah.
Which is a shame that they're just sitting there, actually, after what I've heard.
I wish I could explain it to you. I can't explain it to myself.
What's that? Why you haven't released them, or?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid that it's not going to be whatever good enough. You know what, though? I feel like it's pretty good, and I should just put it behind me.
I hear you.
Yeah.
This thing about COVID, what were you doing during that time? How did you and your family survive it, and how did you? What musically were you doing during it?
When COVID hit, sorry, this is really personal, and I'm trying to.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to talk about it.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I just remember the world was ripe and rife with fear, and I, with all that anxiety that was like in the psychosphere, I just needed to get away. I've got an old street bike, and I fired it up, and I rode to visit my Uncle Dan down in Texas. And I did a road trip by myself right during the height of COVID, and it was very interesting to see the different states. It was almost like every state was a different country than the one you just passed through,
Right.
with the messaging out there on
Right.
COVID, particularly.
Yeah.
And obviously, Texas wasn't quite as fear mongering. I want to use the word for it as Washington State. I understand people look at COVID as a political thing. I don't. I've got my own private opinions on it. My mother passed away of COVID
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
year ago, so it is personal to me, very personal. But at that point, so I back to my my bike trip. I spent probably, I don't know, a month and a half in Texas, and I wrote a lot of songs in Texas. And
Oh,
oddly enough, I wrote them inside my bike helmet as I was riding. I would sing and come up with things, and these are tracks that the ones that I actually want to record now.
yeah.
Um, so it was just a different vibe down there. There was Sunday morning gospel and country
Yeah.
and cowboy church signs on the side of the road. Oh, and people said hello to you when you said hello to them.
Yeah.
And I liked that about Texas quite a bit, actually. Um, I don't care what kind of political issues you land on, left, right, center, wherever.
Right.
I still believe in manners, and I think they should exist the whole way around. So it's one thing I did definitely love about Texas. I liked Western Colorado quite a bit, riding over the Rockies. I went on a small highway, 15, and I thought Western Colorado was really neat. This is what I was doing during COVID. I was kind of like on my own solo adventure. I came back home after being gone a couple months and having many adventures and seeing many beautiful things. And at that point, I thought about music and my life, and I needed to step up and get something more concrete. That's when I got involved with becoming a butcher.
Yeah.
I started going to school for that. I graduate my meat cutter's degree, butcher
Right.
degree
Yeah.
tomorrow, actually. So
All
I'm
right.
finished
Yay.
with that chapter, and that's basically what I was doing with COVID. I doing a lot of working, a lot of drinking after work. Now I don't drink. I guess now that drinking is gone, I started doing this and work.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's good.
hopefully COVID is no more. Hopefully we're going the other way and we won't see a big scare like that again. But
Maybe not in our lifetime, but who
yeah,
knows? My life
yeah.
is a lot
I never
shorter
thought
than
I'd
yours.
live to see anything like that. It was
Yeah.
insane.
So when you were in Texas, what did you play out? Did you play with your guitar? Did you play anywhere or?
Um, I played once. I mostly just hung out with my uncle at his shop, and we kicked around and did different road trips and whatnot. But there's a fellow that comes into his shop who's on The Voice, I think, and I think he did very well. His name was Shane Porter, and he came into my uncle's shop while I happened to be playing, and he sat down next to me. I think my uncle dad must have set this up, like he wanted him to meet me or something. Um, So he started singing, and I luckily came in with the right note and the and the right thing to play over it. And the next thing I know, I was going down to Humboldt. It's spelled Humble, Texas, but it's pronounced, the locals call it Humble. And I went down to Humble, Texas, and I played with him in a gig at the Stetson, which was a really cool country club. And I just sat in with the band, and got to play there and meet a bunch of cool folks. And um, I felt like there was a chance for me there to like stay and play with Shane. It felt like that's what was being offered, but I have a family. I've got a wife and two kids, and I had to come home to Washington. But part of me wishes that I could get these guys up here to come with me down there, because the music, I think some of the best country is coming out of Texas these days, and not Nashville.
Yes. I so did Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everything I suppose happens as it happens, and we never can predict what's next. So
No, no.
I just hope you keep on. I just hope you keep on keeping on. There's a lot of music in you. It needs to come out.
Thank you, Joy. I appreciate you
You're
saying.
welcome. So we're almost wrapping up here. We got about 10 minutes left. And so, do you think, I mean, you haven't started trying to get gigs yet because you haven't got a band. You're still trying to work get this music out.
I've had guys feel me out for that. Like,
Have you?
since I've been
Good.
at the jam, I've had guys be like, "Hey, let's give me a set list." Doug McCrews talked to me about it. Like, let's get something going. Let's get
Yeah.
paid. And I've been a little. I think Doug is more drummer than I would ever deserve. But I've been hesitant, even so, because I realize the commitment it is, and I can be a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've just been wanting to get my chops and my groove and my feeling back, and I know that the jam is good for that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm taking my time. I don't know. I'm acting like I've got all the time in the world, but I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Not with the family.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, don't listen to Doug because he got me in all this too. He kept after us and then kept
Oh,
after
really?
Kurt and I and said, you should be out there playing music, yada yada. And it's
Maybe he
like,
just says that to keep me coming back to his jam and supporting it. Who knows?
yeah, I don't think so.
Probably.
He usually says what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a good drummer, but and I've had him for most of my music. I am in this new song that I'm planning on called "Devil on My Shoulder."
Yeah.
Going to use a country drummer that used to play with me a long time back, and his name is Robert Schaefer, and I'm going to try to use his skills.
What kind of is it like a ballad? Is
Have
it
you
like
ever heard?
shuffle?
There's what a. Have you ever heard the song "Tiger by the Tail"?
Yeah.
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 Well, it's kind of that vibe. There's a little gal that I sing her song called "Suds in the Bucket." I did it last night,
Yeah. Yeah. My
and
wife loves that song.
Sarah Evans is the lady that does that, and
Yep.
she put out a version, a newer country version
Yeah.
of "Tiger by the Tail," and she didn't change much, but she changed the vibe, and so I kind of going off of that. Um, I
Yeah.
was driving home from the studio. I had just been recording something. I can't remember which record. I think it was Lavender Fields, and this song came to me, and I started developing it, and that's where it's all going.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to figure out how I can make it a duo. But anyway, that's the one I'm working on, and
Yeah.
you know, what I was trying to say there is Doug McGrew is really good, and he's done most of my country music when I go out and gig. But
Yeah.
but there's certain drummers that have that vibe. They
Yeah.
just know those beats and they know how to bring them out. And not everybody has that. Doug has played country with a young lady who's an independent artist called Jessica Lynn Whitty, and he
Yeah.
was on tour with her for a while. And
Oh, I
he
know
had,
Jessica Lynn. Well,
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
know of her at least. I don't know that
yeah,
I've ever met her, but
yeah.
yeah.
I have. She's a great gal, and her husband Raymond. But anyway, he had notes everywhere. He had notes, sticky notes everywhere while he was playing.
Yeah.
Wild, just wild. But he's a great drummer, and I'm not gonna fault him. He's a good country drummer, true. But there's
Yeah.
certain magic that happens with certain country drummers that just can't be copied. And Andrew last night is one of those people. He too.
In my mind, when I want to put together, I guess I don't think about drums as much as I should. I'm always more concerned with.
That's your heartbeat, man.
Yeah,
That's the
you're right.
soul.
You're right. But I guess I've always kind of I worry about the bass, and I worry about. I like to have keys. I like to have a good Hammond B9 sound, and if I can afford one, a nice pedal steel player. To me, that brings nothing says country like pedal steel. It's like
Do you know Dave Harmonson?
no. I know of a reverend who plays good pedal steel. His last name is Wolf. And I know of Dan Tyak, and I played with Dan Tyak, and I used him on my record. And Dan is my favorite pedal steel player. Dude is amazing.
There's a place called the Little Red Hen in Green Lake.
Yeah, I played there.
And Dave Harmonson plays guitar there. He's also pedal steel and lap steel, does dobro. And he's done that music. And this time on my song, he's going to be playing the lap steel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of
You
the.
know, Joy, they do a jam on Sunday night there. And I bet you if we went down, we could talk to some of these cats.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already agreed to do it. He's done a
Yeah.
couple of them. And I swear by him, he's a good steel player. So if
That's
you
cool.
get out there to the Little Red Hen in Green Lake, do listen.
Yeah.
Dave's out there. He plays lead, and he can play lead for you. He can play just about anything but my music.
Yeah, but your music, huh?
Anyway, so what advice would you give people that are struggling like you as far as trying to get it all together, create your own music, play your own music, your own originals, do some covers along the way, and looking for a band that when it feels right, you're going to know it. When you feel like you're on top of your game, you're going to know it. What advice would you give people?
I don't really believe in talent. I believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And if you work your butt off and play all the time, you're going to see a result. And if you listen to me, if you don't forget to listen to music, don't spend all your time just playing it, listen to it. Yeah. And when you feel inspired and when music inspires you, that's the time, to pick it up and play. As far as like advice for putting bands together, if I knew that, I don't feel like, I'm not qualified to really tell people how the best way to do that is. I just think that if you work hard in your craft and you get out there and play as much as you can and don't miss opportunities will come to you, and just don't let them get by you. That's what I would say.
Do you mean I have to kidnap you?
Yeah. Probably not. Joy, you spoke to me about a duet with this song that you're doing, and I'd be more than happy to. I heard your song last night. I thought it was great. I really thought it was good. It was the Cherokee one. I like the
Warriors of the Cherokee. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool. I don't know. It reminded me of something I would hear maybe Johnny Cash do, but only if he was a woman. So it was. I mean, I really dug it.
Yeah. And my family is Cherokee. My granddaughter married a Cherokee man, and her children, two grandchildren, boy and a girl, are Cherokee, and I have two grandsons, great grandsons, who are also part Cherokee. Yeah. So obviously, it was something I heard and wanted to do, and I did it. So it took a while.
I think you did a good job of it.
Thank you.
I really do enjoy just going down there and listening to you get up there. I think it's really I don't know. I think it's cool that you haven't let the things that have challenged you stop you. And it's inspiring to know that you can just keep going.
Yes.
That means I can keep going.
I lost my confidence after quitting for 4 years. It took me 4 years now. It took me all this time to get back where I was, and even more. I took lessons, all kinds of things during COVID, started writing. So I've changed a lot. And I have one of the worst things for me is some guys tend to be like, what's she doing up here? What's a woman doing in a man's world? And
that's bullshit. Yeah. I wouldn't listen to anybody with that. That's,
happens.
I don't know. I think here you are, you're this cute lady sitting up there. You got your cute little white guitar, and you're playing your heart out, singing cool country songs. And anybody that can't appreciate that,
Thank you.
I wouldn't appreciate what they have to say.
I got it. All right, Josh. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They changed the rules on me again, and so we didn't get to broadcast where I want to be, and the broadcast was cut short on my business page because that wouldn't go to the other, wouldn't go to matured musicians. So we'll have to have you back, Josh. But you are on YouTube. I will
Okay.
put everything out there so people can listen to it in full. Explain what happened. Contact StreamYard and yell at them. In the meantime,
Yeah.
I'll see you at the Twin Dragon, Josh, and
Yep.
keep
Yep.
on playing. Thanks for
I
being
know.
here.
Yep.
All right, take care. Well, that's it for me, guys. We have another one coming up next Monday at 2 o'clock. Hopefully, these problems will be straightened out between Facebook and StreamYard, where I'm just sort of caught in the middle. And I'm sorry this did not go as planned. This is now the second interview this has happened here. So I'm not getting any messages telling me that this is going on. In the meantime, everybody, you have a good time for the rest of the week and stay safe. And we'll see you down the road. Thank you. Bye bye.